Had never been used. Paul Heining's been investigating a business where we've been undercover and had something of a masterclass in cold calling.
Sussex has over 100 miles of coastline, centuries of history and some of the coolest seaside resorts in the country. And, oddly, it's now home to one particular industry. Within 10 miles of each other, there are nearly 20 companies, all trying to sell you a warranty for one of these. And some of them have a distinctly odd way of getting new business.
Buy your satellite dish and you can be pretty certain of the channels you'll be watching, but buy insurance for that dish and it's a bit more difficult to get a clear picture of exactly who you're dealing with. And sometimes that is just the way they want it.
More than 8 million people in the UK have a satellite dish, and for the first year they get a manufacturer's warranty from Sky. But when that runs out, you're free to sign up to whoever you want. And that's where Satellite Direct UK Limited comes in. It's run by this man, David Reynolds. The company operates from offices in this building in Brighton. They sell warranties covering your dish from accidents, storm damage and general wear and tear. But when they call, some of their customers aren't sure just who it is they're talking to.
I got a telephone call that said, "Is that Mrs. Green?" And she said that my Sky plan had expired. I thought that the people were Sky because they addressed me by name, they knew I had a Sky repair plan, they knew how much I paid for it, and they had my phone number.
To make sure her dish was still covered, Patricia signed up and thought no more about it until she got her next bank statement, which showed she was paying for 2 warranties, and she couldn't understand why Sky would do that.
And so I rang them up and asked them why they were taking 2 amounts out in the same month. Well, then they informed me that my plan was not due for renewal, and they hadn't rung me. So, of course, straight away I realised that I had been duped.
Patricia's new warranty wasn't with Sky at all. Her cover with them still had a further 9 months to go. In fact, she'd been rung by Satellite Direct UK, and they'd talked her into paying £5 a month for something she just didn't need.
I know it sounds to be a small amount, but small amounts add up. And when you're a pensioner anyway on a fixed income, anything is too much. I was very, very angry about it.
Not least because when she signed up, she thought she was talking to Sky.
Just over a year ago, Sky took Satellite Direct UK Limited to the High Court, saying that their sales staff were passing themselves off as Sky. The judge agreed and told them to stop it. In fact, he described their sales technique as a blatant lie.
After that, surely the company wouldn't still be misleading its customers. We sent a researcher undercover to their call centre in Brighton to find out. When she arrives, she meets her trainer, Leroy. During her training, he explains that when calling potential customers, she should not say she's calling from Satellite Direct UK, but from a company called Sat Support Limited, and he talks her through the script.
Hi Mr Smith, thank you. My name's Leroy, calling from Sat Support Limited. It's regarding the Sky TV system. Is it self who deals with that? Yeah.
So far so good, but it's downhill from there, as his script tells the trainees to lie and pretend to know about existing warranties.
You had your initial manufacturer's warranty for 12 months with Sky, but it's now showing up on my system that's expired, so that's why I'm calling you today to get that set up for you. Is it still the one box you got?
Although Leroy makes it very clear that our researcher shouldn't actually say she works for Sky, he's not bothered if that's the impression she gives.
That customer thinks I'm Sky, that's their problem. I told her, well, I wasn't Sky, I'm Sat Support, but if she thinks I'm Sky, that's their problem.
They sound as if they know everything about you and your telly. In fact, they know nothing at all. They don't know when your current warranty expires. They don't know if you've got 1 box or 2. They do not even know if you've got a dish. They've simply bought your phone number and they don't want you to know this. They're just cold calling, hoping to get lucky.
And that's particularly infuriated Patricia, because she thought she'd done everything she could to stop unsolicited calls.
I say, in my defence for being stupid, I don't get cold calls at all. I have the telephone preference service, I'm not in the directory, and with the local council I've ticked so that my details are not released to anyone. So in fact, the only calls I ever get from firms are from firms that I'm actually dealing with.
Except, of course, when Satellite Direct UK rang, and they shouldn't have done it, because calling any of the nearly 15 million people registered with the Telephone Preference Service, or TPS, is against the law, and the company knows that better than anyone. Last summer, the Information Commissioner forced them to sign undertakings that they'd stop doing it. But it's a promise it seems they've ignored. If Satellite Direct UK Limited don't talk you round first time, they've got some other little tricks up their sleeve, like intimidation or bullying. And that's something they don't feel in the slightest bit ashamed of.
The key point is to scare the customer. You have to scare the customer into buying this product and believing they need this product. If you don't scare the customer, you're not going to get the sales. If you don't bully the customer, you ain't going to get the sales. If you hear a dog in the background, say, oh, what dog have you got? Jack Russell. Oh, I love them dogs. I hate them dogs. Okay? But just tell the customer you love them dogs. That's called a white lie. You know, when a girl says to you, do I look fat in my dress? No, you look beautiful. You look like a bus, basically, yeah? But you tell them they look beautiful, yeah? It's just a white lie, yeah? White lies are good.
No, Leroy, they're not. They're just lies. And the company's got plenty more of those, as Peter Knight discovered when they cold-called his number in 2005.
My wife answered the call. I was out of the room at the time. And I happened to come in just at the time when they were asking her to confirm her bank details. And when she hung up the phone, I said, why were they asking for your bank details if it's from Sky? And the more Cheryl thought about it, the more she thought something wasn't quite right.
It wasn't, but it was 2.5 years before that became clear. They didn't hear from the company again until last October, when, without warning, they suddenly started taking payments for the warranty from Peter's bank account.
Well, we were just amazed that it would, especially after all that time, that they'd just try and start it up. And if it's just lucky that we check our bank statements regularly enough to spot it.
Peter complained to his bank and they refunded the money, but it does seem Satellite Direct UK can have an unusual way of treating your bank details. And as our researcher discovered, a sneaky way of persuading you to hand them over. According to Leroy, the trick is to make you think they already have them.
Right, so what bank did you say you was with, sorry? You're making the customer think that you already know, but we don't know their bank details. We haven't got their bank details.
In other words, something else that just isn't true.
When they've already been warned about their behaviour by some of the highest authorities in the land, it's extraordinary that they're still misleading their customers. What is going to stop Satellite Direct UK sending out the wrong signals?
Well, Satellite Direct UK Limited have quite bizarrely avoided answering our main allegations, instead telling us in a statement how good they are at engineering. They say they don't cold call and that Leroy doesn't work for them. Now, that may be true because, as you may remember, he told our researcher to tell people she was calling from a different company, Sat Support Limited.
Still, you can see why they might not want to defend the indefensible. And the really strange thing about this is there's nothing actually wrong with the warranty. It's just the way that it's sold. Meanwhile, we've spoken to Sky. They say it's totally unacceptable to treat customers in this way, and they welcome this new evidence.
Well, we are joined by Michelle Shambrook from Consumer Direct to talk about the whole cold calling business in general. You know, Michelle, they always... I'm sure people at home will appreciate this. They always call at the wrong time, don't they? You know, you're bathing the kids, you're making a meal, the phone goes. Is that a tactic?
I'm not sure that it's a tactic, but it does always seem to be the way, doesn't it? And our golden rule is don't feel pressurised. If it's not convenient, ask them to call back. If they're a genuine company, they'll be more than happy to do that. Better still, ask them to send you the details in the post so you can have a look at them later.
And if you... Yeah, OK, that is important. And if you do make a deal, what's the get out?
If you agree to something as a result of a cold call, then you do have the right to change your mind. They should send you a written notice of your right to cancel, and you have 7 days from the day after you receive that to change your mind, which is really important. If you don't receive that written notice, then you could have up to 3 months to cancel the contract.
And definitely not give them any bank details and such like.
Indeed. Our advice would be, firstly, of course, don't be pressurised, but don't give any personal details or bank details. And again, just make sure that if you're not sure, ask them to confirm the details in writing. They'll be more than happy to do that if they're genuine, and you can consider it and reflect on it in the comfort of your own home.
Absolutely the right advice. Thanks for coming in and giving it to us. Michelle.
If you've got a story for